Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Go ahead and start clicking stuff. Waiting for the stream to say it's live. I think it's live right away. Oh, look at that. There we go. Is the chat working? We got to pop the chat out. Stream health. All right, cool. Welcome to Vlog Thursday, earlier than usual edition. I wanted to do this earlier so we could, well, just the way scheduling worked, I actually didn't have an event or anything to be at today, so I'm here. And we're going to talk about fun things, at least a few fun things. So one of them is too big to fail over. That's my favorite hashtag that came out. Let me upvote this in sysadmin here. This is the dumpster fire. Sorry, adjust the microphone a little bit here. Dumpster fire that is Wells Fargo's current situation. So yeah, let's see if their website is even up. Let's see, top stories. And yeah, experiencing technical difficulties. It's a rough day over. Look, hats off to the sysadmins that one. Hopefully, they had due diligence and lots of evidence that says, we told you should test this. Because I have a feeling that's a lot of what's going on here. And it's just, this just blows my mind. So I'm going to babble about this while everyone kind of joins in the Vlog Thursday here. And but this is people who claim to have a firsthand knowledge of what's going on at Wells Fargo right now. And essentially, this is common. I mean, there's a lot of, hopefully there's going to be a good debrief. Unfortunately, there's rarely good debriefs. And I've been working on a project for a long time called How They Got Hacked. My challenge is these companies just don't share the details of either whether it's a hack, even when it's not a hack. Like I'm like post-mortem on what happened at these companies, because it's not the company's name that I have any interest in. It's the post-mortem, so we can all learn from whatever went wrong. And I think it's an important part is you can learn, you can anonymize the data from there and talk about the steps, procedures that were done, what went wrong with them, and what happened to turn into all this mess. You know, and here's a really interesting one. I was at our hacker meetup, and I don't remember if I mentioned this last time, but one of the problems they had with a company the company went out of business. They couldn't restore anything. Why couldn't it restore it? Calamity of errors that just couldn't believe happened. So basically, and this is not the Wells Fargo. We'll get to that one in a second here. But what happened was the company had outsourced their they had their backups in the cloud. They did it securely, not a security problem. What went wrong was the company they thought they were contracting for the cloud wasn't putting the data where they thought they were, and they didn't take the time to verify this. So ideally, if I'm in the Midwest, maybe I want my data stored geographically separate from the Midwest. Completely easy, simple thing to do in concept. In execution, well, maybe not. So they had backed up their data. It turned out their data was backed up only miles away from them. So when disaster struck somewhere and they tried to restore data, they couldn't because disaster had struck also this other area. And what made matters worse is they couldn't get the data center back online immediately, so they brought generators in. No one had tested offsite generators, and the electrostatic noise created by the offsite generators started destroying all the data at the local data center. So their plan to put the data on the other coast ended up causing them a problem right local in their backyard, because somehow the company they contracted decided to put the data back over there. So these things happen. Now, Wells Fargo is a little bit different because this has been going on all day. And if I understand this, at least based on what people with throwaway accounts are posting here, is the yeah, well, knowledge is power. That's rough. So one is they didn't test their backup plan, is what I would understand based on what I've seen here. So they said they've gotten basically a fire suppression system went off at the main data center. Not an actual fire, but some type of utility work tripped it. So something did trip it. You always want to be cautious. These are data centers, and data center fires are very, very serious. A lot of stuff going on in there. There's a lot of batteries. There's a lot of things happening in there. So no power to any of the network computers. It powers off. Well, it should roll over to the other side, the other data center. And this is where the failover went wrong. It didn't. And You know, I love this someone. Is it DNS? Maybe. Yeah. It's probably DNS. So it sounds like, based on all the reading I've been doing in here, and this is hyperbole, I do realize that this is people who claim to work there. There's no real evidence of this, but basically they don't have proper access after the main data center went down to flip over the DNS to point to the backup data center. Now, this is one of those things that you do when you're doing the testing. This is a really important phase, especially at the scale of some company like Wells Fargo. I mean, I believe they're in the Fortune 100 list. They're pretty damn big. And you table talk at first. You walk through, and before you do your hot test, you kind of table talk your DC rollover plans. You sit down and you just kind of do a dry run. You walk through it, you get the papers out, you walk through the process. And that helps you when you're doing this, because then you find out like sticking points, like, oh man, no one has the password to the DNS server. Or when you hold these table talks, having them very impromptu is a great way to do it, because some people can't make it, some people aren't available. That's going to be the reality. A guy's on vacation, so you don't schedule these. This is part of the real planning, real testing. This is, you know, the fire drill. You go through, you check it, you walk through these processes. And this is what happens when you don't, is you don't have a feel for it, or the one guy that had the password to the one thing, that's not there. Or when you're walking through it, you're like, oh, wait, we upgraded servers last year and we forgot to make note that we changed the name of the servers, so the scripts that kick off the servers aren't right. And these are really important aspects when you're going through any of the planning and when you have to think about this out. You know, even with us, we're way smaller. We're no Wells Fargo, of course, but you know, we do this for our clients. We go through, we've done test restores. You walk through scenarios with them, and that's the difference. I mean, the backup is like just a piece of it. Yes, make sure you have backups. More than that is a document referred to as your business continuity plan. And that's something any company, it's not necessarily an IT thing, but any company should have a business continuity plan. And I see too many of these companies that don't. And a case in point, out to eat, I do carry cash with me. There was no business continuity plan to the sushi place. They were like, our credit card machine's broke. Okay. And they're like, we don't have an impression thing. Because that's what I asked them. Can you just impression my card? You're like, we don't understand how to do that. Once again, no business continuity plan to deal with a credit card outage because their internet's out. So yeah, it's one of those things you really have to walk through with your business. You walk through it on plan, you document it, you flowchart it, you test it, and having it tested on every couple months is a great thing to do. It's inconvenient, but boy, it can really, really, practice failure. I see someone suggesting that's a good way to put it. You practice the fail, and like I said, if you're in charge of something, don't plan it, don't involve them. And this goes through a lot of different testing. I've even talked with some people that are doing security teams. I like the way that they have done it. Some of the security teams, what they'll do, of course, this is on behalf of the C-suite, as they call it, the C-level people. They stage an attack at a company or cause some type of outage. They do so at the same time. Let's say the president of the company is aware. He shuts his phone off, or he just quits answering it. So he's working with the security team, and this was a fun story too. He's working with them, and the goal was to see how quick they would call the president of the company based on a simulated attack on the company, or whether or not it could be handled internally. And, you know, this is what leads to more testing. So surprise on one side of the company. Of course, people are aware at the top that this is a stage. They want to see what the performance is and what the results are for this. It's just a really important aspect to do all this testing and being thorough when it comes to your IT planning, your business continuity planning, or any of this. It's just so critical, and so few companies do it. They don't spend the time and really push on it. And related, I did a video the other day. And we'll pop over here. I love Reddit. Sorry, I know there's people who hate Reddit. And if you want to know what I like about Reddit, the things I like about Reddit are certain and specific subreddits. Certainly not Reddit as a whole. I will not blanket say is amazing. There's a bunch of stupid things that go on in Reddit. And there's people that I don't feel like debating or arguing with. You're right. So there's not everything perfect. But on the other side, you know, this is also companies that don't practice the failure properly. So this is a hack that happened the other day at an MSP, and this is also pretty crazy. So I got Corey Thompson. ND and MN are both shut down for a blizzard today anyway. I didn't notice the Wells Fargo Charger Bank until the interwebs went crazy about it. I just assumed a snow day. Yeah, your data center shouldn't have a snow day. Ideally, it shouldn't have a snow day. There's exceptions. I don't know the locations of all the data centers at Wells Fargo, but clearly there's some issues going on. Yeah, last few bits. Actually, funny thing, James, that they've been in the news for as well is all the fraud that they had their employees committing. Then they got in trouble for that recently. So Wells Fargo is not a company that's been in the news for anything good recently, and of course, this isn't good either. And this brings me back to who watches the watchers, and I kind of have talked about this before, and I did a video on this specific topic. It's hard to really figure out the blame on this because there's not a good debrief yet. I mean, we can speculate all day. I have other side channels I talk to, people who think they know who all this is and how it's happening. But it's a local MSP that got hacked, and their clients got crypto locker. And this is one of those things where I know a few people that one of our clients, he's currently IT for the company. They contract us for certain IT projects. He used to work for an MSP and he quit. He said the place is completely like a fire waiting to happen because everything was poorly done, poorly documented, no updates or security practices, heavy on the sales team, get more clients, but no back-end security. And he said he had to leave. He goes, it didn't feel comfortable working there. And that's, unfortunately, we know there's a lot of different IT companies or MSPs that are like that. They're not all like that. I don't think there's the majority of them are really good. But when you find the bad ones, you notice them way more than the good ones. Well, and here's how that works. This is just a statistic thing. I don't take over IT from companies that are good at their jobs. So I don't know who the good people are. I know who the bad people are because I'm always watching the dumpster fires that they have left of undocumented, unmanaged IT stuff. You know, there's one company we took over a few clients for, like it's a predictive amount of disaster. We already know what to look for because we're like, yeah, this will be on fire, this will be on fire. They don't have passwords to this. They use the same password for this. So yeah. Because one of our jobs yesterday was hacking a phone system to get it reset. Not that that's rocket science to do, but obviously something needs to be done. So, let's see. I have a friend that works at a data center in New York City, and I just texted him if I can get more info in his building, but no cell service. Heard from, yeah. It's, yeah, no, it's an issue. It's an issue. So I don't know. We'll see how the Wells Fargo thing plays out. I really hope we get a good postmortem on it. These companies are often very tight-lipped, but I want a very, and like I said, this is a goal I've had for a while with putting together a series of stories. I'm going to try to work with some red teams that I know locally. I want to sit down and do this with them, put together some great stories and put together some videos on it because I want them to all be learning experience for all of us. You know, the stories are kind of fun. We like the stories of in the trenches, but the bigger goal is understanding these things and sharing that knowledge makes all of us better at our jobs. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Lars asks, what do you think of MikroTik? I've rambled about this before. Maybe I need to do a video of why I don't care for MikroTik. So we've tested and used the MikroTik devices. I'm thoroughly unimpressed with them. I find them very complicated, but I very much will say they're full-featured. So if you are willing to take the time to learn the complicated, confusing interface of the MikroTik or learn their command line, you have a powerful device that's very affordable. That's simple as that. But that's a decision you need to make if you want to put the time into doing it. I have no interest in put the time into doing it. I looked at it. I said, why is there 3 menus deep just to change the Wi-Fi password? Like this is, everything seems a little bit like hacky and put together, like a very unpolished project. So it's one of those things that doesn't interest me a lot. It doesn't offer anything to me that I don't get from pfSense when it comes to features. So it's also the same reason. I mean, I like the edge routers. We deploy them because they're the same thing. I actually like the edge router interface better than MikroTik one, and I'm not the biggest fan of the edge router interface, but I think they're also very full-featured and pretty nice. Yeah, hacks. I was once asked to recover a hacked building access control system. A company I bought the building now and couldn't get in. Yes. So we hacked the free PBX system yesterday to figure out what the hell was going on, and the company had, the previous IT people had written a series of cron jobs to make all the buzzers go off to tell people when to go on break. So that was all goofed up, and they had done it all with a series of cron jobs dropped into free PBX. Like, reverse engineering other people's stuff can be kind of a pain, but we didn't want to just rip and replace because it all worked, and it's a big company. So we went ahead and cracked the password on it, got in, changed it, added SSH keys and proper logins, and now it works. So, you know, we would love to rip and replace. The company's budget doesn't seem to, I'm going to say they don't want to put the budget to rip and replace. We really suggest rip and replace. We won't certify anything secure unless they do rip and replace. So, but nonetheless, it's, you know, something we're looking into here. Recovery hacking. That's a great way to put it. Hey, Pascal, how you doing? Let's see. Companies that get hacked is better than the actual company rundowns. Can't wait till, town rundown companies are getting hacked. I had to hack an Avaya phone system to get in and add another line to it. Yeah, there's all kinds of goofiness that has to be done to make all this work. It's so messy, so messy. My Unify VM constantly uses 2 gig of RAM. Something wrong. How many devices do you have in it, I guess? So it uses a decent amount of RAM, but that's going to vary with how many devices you have into it. So can I read my last message with link? No, I don't know. I don't understand the question, Lars. Just 2. Let's do this. So we're going to go ahead, make it bigger so you guys can see it. My bigger profile. I don't see any link, Lars. I don't think YouTube allows you to paste links. So mine is using 2.87 gigs. So I don't know if that's... I've modified mine a little bit too, though. I don't have another controller to give you a comparison, Pascal. So mine's using very little CPU, but decent amount of RAM, so 2.8. But I'm also running... Actually, let's do this. Service, Unify. This runs both. Let me stop this. So let's see. Yeah, 2.2 without the other controller running. So yeah, without the other controller is 2.2. Start. And not much more. This is me kicking off the video controller. So yeah, that's probably sounds about right there. So I like answering questions in real time with real answers. Why Outlook is being trashy? Turns out that installed Nest cameras, which are chewing up the bandwidth. Yeah, cloud cameras are interesting because they have no choice but to be able to do the chew up a whole lot of bandwidth. I mean, you're trying to push a lot of that cloud data out, and you're going to get chewed up bandwidth on it. That's going to happen. What else was I going to babble about today? Clear. New shirts. For those of you that don't know, a few people had liked my background that I have on here, so we went ahead and made it as a shirt. Let me find it. I got a URL somewhere. Teespring. Find it and drag it back over. Store. Yeah, Teespring. There we go. So yes, we have the people that want the I am root shirts. You can get one here. And for those of you who don't know or don't follow me on Twitter, you can also grab it off the back of my Twitter if you wanted it for some reason as well. So people ask me for the graphic itself. It's on my Twitter. I've got it publicly posted places. So you can definitely have a copy of it. I don't mind at all. And if you'd like to order the new I am root shirt, we definitely have those there. So now, I will comment on this. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. I like Steve Gibson. Steve Gibson was wrong. And Steve Gibson was talking about ubiquity routers are in trouble again. And I know that's a great headline. Ooh, ubiquity is in trouble. And they tagged me and Chris in it. They're not going to fix their video I'm actually going to say I hope that SG does a correction in the next episode. There we go. Or goes into more detail. There we go. So SGGRC, Steve Gibson, great guy, great Security Now, great podcast and everything else. Yeah. SSH keys are like underwear. Don't share them. Definitely don't share your SSH keys. FreeNAS encrypted backup to the cloud is an editing. No, I haven't got a chance to do that yet. How do you use your SSH keys in the wild? One for every client or only one? We each have our own, as each staff member here has their own SSH keys, SSH into things. So it's not like that. And then each of us may have a couple. Like we have our business ones, so that's a little bit... I won't go into too much detail on it, but yeah, essentially we don't just share a bunch of SSH keys at all. That's actually, for those of you who don't know, when you're doing SSH keys, you can have one machine with many SSH keys in it. So not a big deal there. So definitely not a problem to do that. I am going to do some videos on SSH keys and some of that. There's actually a great book if you want. I'll drop a link into it. He's been on our podcast, or he's been on a podcast. He's been on the YouTube channel as well. SSH Mastery. This is a book by Michael Lucas, a friend of mine. And I highly recommend this book if you want to learn everything there is to know about SSH. SSH Mastery, Open SSH, PuTTY, Tunnels, and Keys. Book 1. You will learn so much from this book about everything you want to know about SSH and a lot of things you didn't know SSH can do, which even includes using DNS text records for SSH key management. So some really neat, clever things that you can do with SSH. It's an amazing management tool. It is the basis for many other tools. So yeah, definitely do some learning on that. And yes, I'm still using Pop! OS as my daily driver. I am super happy with Pop! OS. I mean, like, no, you throw your public keys everywhere. Matter of fact, something interesting that not everybody knows, GitHub. Keys. There you guys go. Whoever wants my public SSH key, it's published on GitHub. Actually, so is everybody's. If you took the time to publish it on GitHub. And yeah, I do this because that way I have my keys I use for most management. That way you can just get my keys. So you can go here to GitHub. You can go to the user's name. Like I said, this is more than just for me, of course. It's anyone who has their keys on there. So let me see if we go to Phil. There we go. And this was forked from, I think these are originally Phil's. I lost it. There we go. Go here. Keys. There's Phil's keys. So if you want other people's keys, you can just go grab many people like myself, publisher keys. This is an easy way. So if you need me to access your servers, you can grab my public key and be able to get us in. So like I said, I'm going to do some videos maybe on key management. I do recommend, though, reading a book like Michael Lucas's book so you can really get an in-depth understanding of how these keys work. And as you can look here, Phil has actually a couple different keys set up, some artist keys. If you're not familiar with the ED 2519, that's the new one. So Phil has those keys in there. That's the newest Edwards curve digital signature algorithm. Let's see. Would anyone consider using a virtual instance of FreeNAS on a production environment? Never. I don't see the point in that. Okay, yeah, the SSH key mastery. Yeah, I think there may be. You're right. I think there is an addition to that. So let me look that up. So make sure we have a correction here. SSH Mastery, 2nd edition. There is. So book 1. Somewhere here's book 2. I'm not going to spend more time looking for it. You guys can figure this out. It's SSH Mastery, OpenSSH. So definitely go learn it. It's just an amazing manager tool for managing Linux. Definitely does really, really well. Matter of fact, something I'll show you guys here that I'm also working on is my friend did this. Hold on, let me sure nothing showing that shouldn't be. Oh, okay, I can close all this stuff I'm working on. Anyways, this, close all tabs, drag it back over here. That, all right. This is X2Go. And what X2Go is, and I'll drag over actually the client so you can see it. This is the client. We're going to close this again and close this session. And I can probably close all that. X2Go is awesome. It's using SSH in the background for managing this. I was doing some testing. That's for a future video. But you notice I don't have a password here, but I have a login name. So we're just going to click OK. We're going to open up Parrot. So we're going to hit OK. And boom, we're in. This is essentially terminal server for Linux. And it's amazing. It works with lots of different distros. It works with lots of different desktops. And its transport layer is SSH. So you don't have to really do much with your firewall. It can use SSH, not just as a transport, but as a for the login method and everything. So I was doing some testing with OpenVAS. I was doing some security and pen testing on our own networks. So it's really slick because this kind of gives you easy access to Linux. So I'm going to be doing some videos on this real soon. It works great remotely. I did it over a VPN to get into systems. And if you didn't notice, this is Parrot Linux. So I'm doing a video on Parrot Linux as well. So all this is stacking up. Unfortunately, this whole job thing keeps getting in the way. I want to produce like 3 or 4 videos a day, but then I have to run a job, and man, that's rough. But that's, you know, that's some of the fun of being me, I guess, and stuff I have to do. Would you choose ER Lite or ER4? Neither one of them really. I really like the new PF Sense box that they have, the SG1100. We have it. We're testing it. I can't release all the test results, so we're done with it. But so far, it's good. I like it. It's a really clever design. Let me pull it up real quick. So I'm really happy with it as a product so far. I don't have all the numbers yet, so SG1100. But I don't think for the price, this is really hard to beat for all the features you get in there. This is where I see people going, oh, I don't know if I want the Netgate one. I don't think it's going to run Suricata that well. I can already tell you it's not going to be awesome at Suricata. It's a $159 box. But I will tell you the ER Lite and ER4 aren't good at it all because they can't do Suricata. So it has all the appliance, all the features. It's got a great price. It's really interesting. So it's actually pretty cheap. Because you're in Norway, it's not easy to get. Then in that case, I build it. I don't know. Can you acquire other small boxes to build it on? That's my preference. But I mean, if not, yeah, the EdgeWrite ER4 versus what is the other one? I'm sorry, I'm not good with the names of the edge router. I can't remember which one's which. I don't want to say the wrong thing and get them mixed up. I don't know. Buy the faster one. How's that? I don't know which one's faster. I'd have to look up the specs on each one, Lars. So I don't know on that one. Whichever one's faster is the one I'm going to recommend. So, see, have you ever had a drive in test FreeNAS good, but will cause a file transfer drop to 0? Also, thanks. Oh, okay. No, not really. I haven't really seen that, but I've seen some weird hard drives. They have one that kept giving errors that happened a couple years ago. We replaced it and put that drive in another machine, and the drive works fine. It only gave errors in the FreeNAS machine. We don't know why. We never figured that out. Just kind of a mystery. Can you pass through non-storage USB devices to Zen server? You know, it's not. Here's the problem with Zen server. It's not designed for that. Can you do it? Maybe. I don't know. There's undocumented ways you can do pass-through on things. Well, not say undocumented. They're not supported through any of the interfaces. It's all driven through command line. I don't use it. I have no use case for it. So, yeah. So definitely not really sure on doing the pass-through. I've had people tell me it worked. I say, great. There's people in the XCP-NG forums. Go talk to them. There's people doing it. That's awesome. But it's not me. I'm no help on that at all. And I want something rack mount. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't do it either, so I can't help you on on XCP. Yeah, if you look first, if there's recycling companies, you can get all kinds of inexpensive things. So, oh, okay, you can buy it in Germany and ship it to Norway. That's interesting. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Once you guys are in Europe, you have all kinds of craziness. We click on Amazon and stuff shows up at my door. I don't. You guys always seem to have a lot of issues over there in Europe. I've heard other people from Europe mention that. I don't. You know, people ask me about European shipping because we're almost at 50,000 subscribers. We want to do a giveaway, but European shipping is going to be a nightmare. From everyone I talk to, that's one of the reasons. Like Chris has always done like U.S. only giveaways, as it's just kind of an issue. Yeah, you can't go into Zen server and just pick a path through. You have to do it. It's all done from the command line. It's not supported through the interface itself to be able to do that. That's kind of the nature of it. And for those of you not familiar with Parrot, so Parrot Linux is actually really slick if you're looking for, like, this is Kali Linux, but to me a little bit better. I think it's a little bit more polished than that, but it has tons of exploitation, post-exploitation, password attack, wireless, sniffing, spoofing, network sniffers, all kinds of fun stuff inside of here. So if you're looking for ways to dig around and get started, Parrot Linux, great download. I'll be doing, like I said, a short video on it just to tell people some of the stuff and how to get started with it. Because it's kind of nice to have all these reverse engineering tools under one thing. We use it internally because I like to do some pen testing stuff on my own network on a kind of regular basis. I go through and run some of these and see what I can get against our own systems, fuzz our own systems a little bit, see what happens. Because, you can never be too hyper-vigilant on any of that. Hyper-V core is free. You'd have to run Windows then. Why would you want to run Windows? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this whole Hyper-V. I don't think I'm going to look this up because someone said Hyper-V core free. I think it comes free with the Windows Server license, so it's kind of a misnomer saying it's free. Yeah, you can, Interesting. I've never seen it installed without Windows, so I don't know. Is that how this works? WatchGuard XTMs as pfSense? Absolutely. I've seen a lot of people do that. That's a popular thing. Go for it. Active backup for business is really slick. Okay, it's free with no GUI. That's interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, well, that's like that. It comes with Windows, so it's kind of... That's why I was like, I never really thought about it, because I know it just comes with Windows, so it's not like something that... I am going to be doing some videos on active backup with Synology. That's a pretty cool... I have a whole series of Synology tests. We've been testing out that Synology to put some videos together. So, Synology is definitely a pretty slick system. We have a few clients with them. Synology reached out to us, and we did the one video on it. It went really well. So we're definitely doing more Synology videos up and coming. So that's definitely there. I think someone I scroll past asked about QNAP. I've never used, well, I can't say never. I think I have only one or two clients using QNAP. I'm never familiar with them myself, though. Yeah, so far the Synology is not a bad NAS. It's a nice little device. Sandbox for root. That's interesting. We'll go ahead and close my X2Go session. Woohoo! I was trying to pass through Z-Wave dongle through my HA assistance. Yeah, I don't know. Other backup software with deduplication. KVM or VirtualBox. There's a few other ones too. So Wendell from Level 1 Techs, if you're not familiar with Level 1 Techs, you should be. They did a whole bunch of, I think, some KVM videos, and what those were for were so people could talk about how to pass through on KVM, because he was doing full hardware pass through, which I thought was pretty slick. There's a lot more options in KVM for that. I don't need to do that, so I don't have a use case for it, is why I haven't done it. You could also try Proxmox. I've heard Proxmox has good pass through. Once again, I don't use it, so I don't really have a great help on that part. You can see your comments. Yeah, I did this actually so you could see the delays. I thought that might be kind of funny. You can see from the time this happens to the time it moves over here. I don't know, it's dragging over. I don't have anything on the window right now. What else should I ramble on about? I have less planning today. I'm not as tired as usual, but I'm doing this early because, like I said, I do have a lot to go do later on today. So more to do this interesting later. Limited to the Midwest, no more details. Yeah, they're probably watching your friend who's any messages coming in and out of that data center, because it's down. It's been down the entire day. So they've lost an entire day work. So that's crazy. Wake on LAN with SFP Plus. I don't know. Does SFP Plus support Wake on LAN? I don't know if it supports it. I have no idea. LXC, yeah, the LXC system can do pass through as well. Share that desktop image. It's on my Twitter. I don't know where do I share it to. If you go to my Twitter, everybody follow Tom on Twitter. You can find it right here. It's a higher res one. It's on my Twitter, so that's the same exact one. I uploaded it from my desktop, so they're one and the same. I could put it on an Imager. I don't know. Imager is your favorite place to share? Let me see if I can upload it to Imager. Well, back that up. Let me figure out where I put it. I don't know where it is. So let me look here. All right. Hey, we found it. So I'm uploading it to Imager now. I'll get you guys a link. Where's it at here? Home. Copy. There we go. There you go. I do not have it as vector art. Sorry about that. So, embarrassing high school memory. What was the question? Let's see. Emails. Support email hosting on different services. My domain different, but emails won't receive anymore. What else do we have? I do not have the vector art. Ubiquity server, is that for Unify video only, or can I install any Linux or VM? I don't know what server you're talking about. Yeah, I agree with James Biggs. Once you go G Suite, you're like, yeah. Any thoughts on Dratec? No thoughts on them. I know they had some security flaws in the past. I don't know much about them now, but I haven't. There's nothing about them that was compelling, is what I would say. Because there's about a ton of weird off-brand routers out there. There's a ton of them, but if they're not compelling, it doesn't really make me want to switch to them at all. Because if they don't offer a feature or a price point that makes them really compelling to use, why would I use them? That's kind of how I feel about a lot of them. So it's just time consuming to learn a new one and everything else. But really, if I don't have, it comes back to that, as I always say, if I don't have a use case for that, I don't dare. I have some clients with Zyxel. It's because it was a requirement from their cloud provider that they use them. They ship them pre-configured for their data center cloud connections with their VPNs in them. So we've had them. They're okay. Nothing about them stood out. I wouldn't buy one for my own work, but so I'm kind of like, they work. They're manageable. We just ripped out some Sonic walls. I hate them. They're just annoying. I just think the Sonic wall interface is awful. The Sonic wall is the only one I particularly can say that I don't like, besides the MikroTik. Same thing. I just don't like the interface. At least the MikroTik has a crazy interface, but has a lot of features. The Sonic wall just has a lot of aggravation. I mean, if you want to use a MikroTik, as long as you want to take the time to learn it, have at it. They're novel devices, but that's kind of where it stops for me. They're novel devices. I don't need things that are more complicated for my staff to use. That makes less sense to me to be able to do that. What is UNMS from Ubiquity? UNMS is the for the edge line by spelled it wrong. I spelled it wrong. Getting started, introduction. So this is the service that works with the edge line for the UNMS. This works not with the Unify line, but the edge line of devices for management. So it's pretty cool. They have a list of all the devices: edge switch, edge router, edge power, UFiber, AirCube, AirMax, AirFiber. So it's pretty neat. UNMS 14.0 optimized services. So it's a neat system. I don't really do much with it. I have not done much testing with it. People that have used it told me they really like it. So, using FreeNAS encryption to cloud in production, are you able to restore without an issue? I haven't tested it in a little while. No, I don't use it in any of my production at this moment that I can think of. Not with encryption. We have a client that's using it to back up some data. It's all unencrypted, but they don't care because it's their design files and they're not worried about it being encrypted. And they've been using the cloud backup since the version for a few like the 11.1 series before it had the encryption built in. So 300 and I don't know, check prices on Amazon, Lars. I can't really speak to the pricing on there. Wells Fargo's website's back up in the Midwest. Oh, that's interesting. Let's look. Is the fire out? Is the things over? I know at the beginning of the podcast we opened it up and it wasn't opening. Hey, look, they figured it out. That's interesting. There's some IT people celebrating today. Actually, let's go here and let's go here. Let's see if the Reddit's up to date. No. Any new comments? 57 new comments. Yeah, this is, I don't know, this Reddit was really interesting. Maybe now they're going to go through and do some testing. So hopefully they release a post-mortem on this, but I don't think it's going to happen. They're implementing BCP plans. Yeah. Untangle, there you go. Yeah, bad COBOL. That could be what's running there. All bad and old COBOL in there. Oh. No, I don't know. I don't think you can repurpose the TZ180 Sonic walls. Not much you can really do about that. There's a lot of them, because they run really weird firmware, unless someone has taken the time to modify like an open WRT for it, you may not have to... you may not have any options as far as repurposing it. So check like the DDWRT project. DDWRT. There we go. Oh, that's not the project page, though. List of router firmware projects. So you can look at a handful of them and figure out like which systems work on there, what works for what, and get some lists. Where'd it go? There we go. So support router database and search to see if you're in there. I don't know if any Sonic walls are in here. Nope. Doesn't look like it. I typed in Sonic, doesn't work. So I see a lot of people complaining about the Sophos one, telling me they don't like it, telling me they had problems with it, and they moved over to Untangle. So I haven't really had a use case. Nothing about the Sophos one compelled me to make me want to use it. Untangle has features I really like. So I have used Untangle. I did videos on Untangle. We deployed Untangle. It's great. As a matter of fact, some of the people who, like I said, a few of my IT friends that are well trusted, they've told me they switched from Sophos to Untangle. I have a project next week to potentially switch another person from Sophos to Untangle. I'm fuzzy as to why they don't like it. They just want pfSense, they told me, or Untangle. They're trying to decide. Yeah, the custom BIOS is probably. I don't think they're very. Well documented with the sonic walls, so they're not really good for repurposing. Would be the best way to describe it. So I don't know much we can really do with those. Friend of mine used a lot of those at most installations. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Sophos is necessarily bad, but I've heard different things from different people. I'm not a fan of them myself. So, hey, look, I got more followers. Was it because of my live stream? Is everyone following me on Twitter? Does that Imager link work? So you can have that too. So you like the what? So after they switched to the Sophos XG, what was wrong with it? Was it an interface change you didn't like, or was it, what was it that you didn't like about it? Also, for XCP&G, do you use static IPs in the VMs through Zen Orchestra interface? No, you don't set them through this. Well, for the server, you can. I always set my server to have static IP address, but not the VMs. You don't set the VM's IP address through the interface. You set it inside of each VM. Is there a way to put DNS over the tunnel? I'm not sure which tunnel. Oh, really? So there's another place in Grand Rapids that was hit by an ice storm. That's interesting. And Steve says he doesn't like the interface and workflow on Sophos XG. That's the same thing people told me about them, but I without using it, sometimes I've seen people just complain about things when it comes to interfaces, because interfaces are very, very all about opinion, I should say. So, some people, like, there's a ton of people that seem to really hate the new interface for FreeNAS. So I don't know what to say about that. Like, they just don't want to use it no more. They don't want to switch to it because, they don't want to use the new interface. Whatever. Yeah, I've seen MikroTik in a lot of the smaller ISP spaces. It's one of those things, and I think what happens is someone at the company takes the time to learn MikroTik. It's powerful, it's affordable, and if you're a startup, hey, you have more time than you have money. So they end up, so they end up really locking into it and learning it, and as they grow, they will focus on that one product. So we see a lot of them in small MSPs have used them. It's one of those things. It's an affordable box. It works well, and so it's definitely something else that's not a bad choice. What else we got here? Finally got Zabbix monitoring installed and working on CentOS and Red Hat servers. Awesome. Yeah, Zabbix is definitely a good. But my IP can still see all the DNS traffic. I think you just have to force the DNS traffic over there. You have to do like a force all traffic out in there. I'd have to dig into exactly how that's set up. Or you could just use, if you took that computer and didn't use the DNS on the Untangle, that would force it to go out over the VPN for that particular computer. I will admit this. So let's do this in real-time test. Talking about the dashboard. Let's talk about that dashboard. So one of the problems I have with the dashboard is sometimes it doesn't load. Turns out I found out some type of weird network error. So if I reset the network card, sometimes it just stops doing this and starts loading fine. Right now it seems to be loading, but it doesn't care about my CPU temperature. So I've had this happen a couple times, but it has no effect at all on the functionality. This is running my VMs. This is running everything else perfectly fine. It's got, what else do we have here? Smart net data is running on it. So let's open up net data. This is a production machine. It's hosting our VMs and hosting everything in here, and it's working flawlessly. It works great. I don't have any problems with it at all. So other than the fact that the main page interface sometimes doesn't load, which I don't care much because I don't spend any time there. Other than that, it works great. I will be doing, and I have some jails here for you. A lot of people have questions about the jails, and so I'm going to be doing a jail video soon too. So this is kind of fun, so we can get a shell in here. Yay! So I will be covering all of this. What else we here? Have you seen Sonic Walls hacked? Not in particular. I don't know what. I guess like recently, no. I don't that I know of. They haven't been hacked recently. I haven't seen any CVEs for Sonic Wall lately. Not saying it's impossible, but haven't seen any. Also, stupid. Yeah, FreeNAS needs a good ncurses interface. You know, I wouldn't complain if they did that. It wouldn't bother me. I do like ncurses, but I do realize there's probably a lack of people developing ncurses interfaces. As much as I like them and a lot of people enjoy them, yeah, they're not that popular. Look up Rapid 7 Unify. This came up earlier. And this is annoying to me that people are blowing this out of proportion and showing this because they're like, oh no, you can do this and it's a DNS reflection attack, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I did my video on this. I'm like, they're misconfigured devices. They're not even devices that are insecure out of the box. They're willfully configured wrong. They're putting public IPs on management interfaces. This is a wrong configuration to do. You took effort. This is not an out of the box, broken problem. This is I took something and broke it problem. This is just an aggravation that people are, yes, we know there's a lot of them. Don't worry. Stupid people are all over the place that do these things that don't know what they're doing. So it's not too much of a shock to find these things out in the wild because we see things out in the wild all day long that are misconfigured. And yeah. Unify Protect, I'm looking at it. There's actually some playing going on with it on the other side of this wall. So we are doing some testing in-house with it. I don't have any clients running right now, so Unify sent us a device to do some testing with. So includes one of the new Unify 4K cameras. Yeah, it's a lot more than a new interface. It looks pretty neat. Like I said, my guys are literally playing with it right now. I heard all the giggling earlier, and so they're definitely interested in it. But from a security standpoint, this whole Unify thing is not really a security thing. So it's not really not really a big deal to me. Does pfSense have an import function for AWS VPC, IPsec, or VPN configs? I don't think it has. It has the ability to do some type of AWS, but it does not have a auto import for IPsec that I know of. Maybe I'm wrong, and it's there somewhere, and I just didn't know it. So I can fire up my lab. pfSense lab. That boot up. We'll log into it and take a look. I've always set up all my IPsec and VPNs manually, so oh, that's interesting. Unify Protect cannot do motion only. I didn't know that. Does it seem more stable than a Unify video? I think we're going to find out. So I'm curious, Craig, of what you think of that. We haven't really had, provided it's set up properly, we haven't had stability issues with Unify Video. Unify Video is unstable if the hardware is bad. I just keep bringing back to that. And I know some people are upset because the Unify Protect doesn't let you just run it on your own hardware, but that's obviously a a concern where people want to run it themselves, but I get Unify's problem with that going, yeah, well, they run it for themselves, and they complain about a product because they use underspec'd PCs to try to run this. And that's how the circle of life goes with that. Yeah, no one wants to sift through that much video. I would be shocked that it doesn't do motion record. As far as I know, it does, but I have not dug into it, so I can't answer that definitively right now. Do I use Raspberry Pis in production? If you want to call our Raspberry Pi shredder, if you want to call this in production, then yes. So we have this, which is the Raspberry Pi shredder that shreds hard drives. I've talked about this a couple times before, so this I guess you could call in production. Other than that, no. There's not really a, I don't have any other Raspberry Pis in production for any other reasons. More, yeah, like I said, we're going to test it too, so I'm interested in what you think of it, Craig. But yeah, it's a neat product. Like I said, I hear Steve talking in the other side, just kind of going on about it right now, so. Well, let's see. I'm going to be jumping off here in a few minutes because I do have some more things to go do. So, is there any other final questions or things you wanted to know, things you wanted to see? I'm going to log into that pfSense real quick. That should be booted now. I think it seems like there was a plugin for package manager. Was there an AWS package? Nope, I don't see one in here. Things need to be updated on this. I haven't had my VM on in a little while. Central monitor UPSs. Okay, that's a good use for them. Oh, it's got an interesting text. So that's really cool too. I can't talk about it yet. That'll be a future video though. Maybe he's watching the live stream. One of my friends just texted me that wants to help with a Wisp project. So that'll be fun. All right, cool. We got to update my real-time pfSense updates here. Well, this is my lab machine anyways. Yeah, he is watching. Hey. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. Alt system. Yeah. Go ahead and shut that off. When am I getting gigabit and selling internet to my neighbors? No time soon. None of them care about high-speed internet. Oh, there is a pre-installed package on the appliance for AWS. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. We don't even have gigabit here. We're on what speed do we have? We have like 150 meg circuit here. I'm too cheap. I just can't justify spending the money to get a gigabit circuit. It would triple my bill right now from what it is. I don't like giving Comcast as much money as I give them, so I don't want to give them more. And I know there's other providers out there, but I don't really want to do that either. So yeah, that's kind of a, well, their stock is going down. This is interesting. Wells Fargo stock price. That's actually funny. So your server's down can cause your stock price to go down. Whee! Not much. That's a pretty small. So are we trading at 49 down to 47? I mean, I say small. That's a lot of money based on the volume they trade at. So that's interesting for sure. So what is their stock ticker name? Their WFC. So if we go to stock, or is it, what's the stock market for Google? Finance. Finance.google.com. Put in WFC. Is there a way to expand this more? Thought I could do hourly. Yeah, good enough. It still gets the point across. What a mess. What a mess. Hope they go down for good. Short sellers, yeah. DTE's up. I have stock in DTE. I have stock in some of these things. You got to type ticker? How does this work? WFC, Wells Fargo. And we got, oh, okay, there we go. Market summary. Why not? No. I'm being an idiot, apparently. Why won't it just let me click on the chart? Try to add it to the following. Open high, market cap, 52-week low. Revenues are down. Yeah, whatever. I got what I wanted. We get to chuckle at their demise. Anyone likes Reddit? Hey, why not? Oh yeah, if you want to be more granular, you got to pay $75 for a Bloomberg terminal. Right. Not on Tom's to-do list. Not on what I want to do today. So what do we got here? I'll take a screenshot of it. Whoop. There we go. So your servers go down and so do your stock prices. That'll be my amusement. Any other questions you guys have for me before I go do other stuff and get some work done? Because I'm just kind of babbling and wasting air now. Loving my big switches. Awesome. Anything else? Anything else for the good of the class? All right, I'm going to get back to, yeah, 2% is massive. Like I said, it's all perspectives and it's all money in the air type stuff. So, yeah, I see the 1 hour one day. So did I do it wrong? I see the 1 day. I just don't see the, there's the 5 day. So we ride that roller coaster. I don't see the 1 hour. Anyways, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything productive here. We're just laughing at Wells Fargo. All right. Well, thank you for everyone that came here to the live stream. My next one will be next Thursday, and we'll go from there. That's it. Maybe I'll get to do an early one too. I don't know what I got going on next Thursday. But yep, that's it. Thanks everyone who showed up. I'm going to get back to a couple of projects I have to finish this evening and some stuff I got to go do. So thanks again. Thank you for all of you that subscribed to the channel. We're almost at, we're just an edge away. So it's, let me look, did I hit 50 while we were on the live stream? I doubt it, but I know I'm just on the edge of 50,000, which is awesome. Thank you very much for, like I said, all of you that subscribe. 49,894. Wow. That's awesome. So Untangle messing up. I haven't really heard anything bad about Untangle. Anyways, carry on the conversation in forums. Go ahead and talk there. That's the, yeah, you got here a little late. Sorry, Connor. But go ahead and carry on the conversation in forums. If you don't know, it's forums.lawrencesystems.com. I'm very active in the forums. I like to reply to most everyone as much as possible. Fill these up, man. I spend a lot of time talking in here, so you can click my name and I'll show you. Whoops. There we go. You can see I reply a lot. So if you look at my as a user, so great place to carry on the conversation. I do enjoy interacting with everyone here. And when you do things in the forums, we get to have an open discussion where we all can learn, which is an important part of my channel and just what I like doing is teaching everyone. So awesome. And you guys have a great night.